hey, this is Ostranauts. It's a game I want to show, kind of make more awareness of it. And so the video game space sim, very crunchy, very technical on how it does its stuff, all the way from atmosphere to flight physics, manual docking, undocking. It's something that I'm a fan of, and I got on through it through like Splattercat and some of the other creators that do a lot of stuff with it. So here's just my initial take on the 1.0, the full game release, beginner friendly stuff to help ease people into it if they choose to check it out. So here's character creation. You can basically see it's pretty straightforward. You just got some selectors. I am playing on widescreen right now, so you'll see my character does look very wide. But that's fine because I always wanted to go out to the borders of my monitor. I don't want to necessarily have it be a little bit shorter than that. So, biggest things: your name. You can pick your pronouns and then who you flirt with. That's going to change some dialogue options that you have later on. But you'll see in the next screen when we hit done that you start off. You're age 18. You're worth about $100, and you're basically working at this on the space station called K-Leg. And now it's a life simulator. Here's your mom and your dad, some background on that. And here's the screen where you can either say, I want to spend 1 year of my life, live it, gain experience, which is random, so there's some RNG to this, but it can give you some events that are either going to give you money, let you pick a choice, might let you specialize in a skill. But honestly, for the first thing that we're going to be doing here, we're going to be saying we want to tweak our skills and traits because we basically want to get into the game as soon as possible, for me personally. So there are people out there that would go and simulate, hey, here's what I did. I have a master's in electronics engineering, so I'm going to go and make myself in character or in the game. I just enjoy the rogue-like aspect of this, or rogue-lite as it is. I forget which one is which, but every character is a new starting slate for me. And the way that I want to go about it is kind of a very efficient way. And so I will go in here to tweak skills and traits. All of these traits on the right hand side, it does cost 1 to 3 years. So here you're balancing time spent and invested versus skill gained. And so you can see here, hey, you can become skilled at construction, but the pips are going to tell you how long that takes. And so if you get skilled in construction, that could be up to 3 years. But for a fairly easy, or not easy, a well balanced start, what I would recommend is scrolling down to, where is it? Hobbies, and pick hacking. So this is going to let us do some things. Hopefully we'll be able to show it in the next couple of minutes, but this is going to let us get a little bit easier of a start, and carry us forwards for some things. So it's, hey, you've grown into a young adult, you advance 2 years. And so if I hit apply, you'll see that I'm now age 20. I haven't increased my net worth at all, but I've gained a skill, and that's pretty important. All these skills in the game you can develop through in-game actions, consequences, books, stuff like that, so things to pay attention for. But now that we've gained skill in hacking, I'm going to say seek, ship, and end career. That ends this portion of it. There are people that might like to sit here and just randomize their character and click live life and gain experience. I think you can simulate it till you're about 40 years old, because when you're in this space futuristic economy sort of thing, the age takes a lot of wear and tear on you, so you basically become elderly at 40, I want to say, but they might have changed that in the 1.0. I haven't tested it out yet. So seek, ship, and career, this in of itself is going to cost a year. So if you pull a ship that you do not like, it will take you a whole nother year to find another option. But we're just going to take whatever it gives us. Turns out there's pros and cons to all of these. The ones I've started with beforehand, it's literally just a survival tug. You have a one-room spaceship, and you kind of got to deal with what you can. This is more like the Cadillac version of a starter ship that you can get. So there's a lot of background to this. It's a Testudo Dream, and it's basically saying, this is the ship you get. It's going to be different in terms of size, capabilities, repairedness, how put together everything is. And this one is going to cost us a grand total of being $1 million in debt. So that's fun. And so we'll have to try to make, earn, do what we can to dig ourselves out of it at the rate of $2,300 a shift. And so each day is split into 4 shifts. So you just need to make sure that you take care of that. So I will take ship. If you hit continue career, that's again going to lose you a year, and then you'll get another random ship. So take ship. We are now the owner. It's now time to put in some sweat equity to see what we can put out. Here you can see a summary of what your character is, the traits that you have, unfit, hyper G, volemic, stuff like that, and then the whole summary. And then you hit submit on the right hand side. And now this is you. You wake up. There's time controls in the bottom right. And so that's really what's going to be the key in this game is being able to manipulate time, pause it to be efficient. You know, we can do that, or you can leave it on 1x. You could even slow it down to 0.25 speed if you want to let it coast and go really slow, or you can advance it all the way up to times 16. And there's some also super fast forward stuff if you're doing, you know, like interplanetary travel, things along that line. But for right now, we're going to go to this rack. We're going to take our tote bag, our pressure suit, and our helmet. We're going to check the fridge to see if there's anything. Got some coffee. And if you right click on an item, you'll see all the different menus. You'll see all the different options that you can do. And this is all repositionable. So here we're also going to come up and pick up our toolbox, because this is going to contain our initial tools that we want. And so hitting escape lets you close out all those windows. There's all these little bins. You can sit here and kind of nerd through them, see what you randomly get, from t-shirts to other things, to trash. Typically you just pick up trash and put it in the bin there and not have to worry about it. And then this is like the story system. You actually have some lore and stuff you can read into. I'm not going to be much of a person with a story-driven thing. I like the simulation. There's other people like Radamant or Co who will sit there and read through it, be a lot more immersive, but sorry, I'm not going to be one of those guys. So let's go ahead and just hit confirm, go through that, and then for an optimal or more efficient start, you can see panning around, holding middle mouse button, and kind of going around. You can reorientate the screen. There's a couple things going on. Most people already know this. You come out, turn to the right, toggle the power for the switch, and it powers the door, which we can now open. And come over here and grab this crowbar. That's one of the, you know, first default things I learned when playing this game is look in the dark areas. As you can see, there's some stuff going on, but most of them you're forbidden to enter. Here, there is a piece of conduit that they want you to install to power this door. That can take time, or since we now have a crowbar on our person, we have the option to pry open the door instead. That's just going to make it shorter, take less time. In here, there is a rack with a stir welder, so friction welder, and a combat knife. And so that's usually always good to come in here and just grab out the gate. Here we're just going to put everything in the tote because I'm not sure how long we're going to keep our hands on this toolbox for. But what you can do is you can come over, if you have your eye inventory button open and you walk close to an item, you'll see that it changes the cursor from little footsteps to go close to it to a hand pickup to let you actually pick up the item and drag it somewhere. So we can just put it in the toolbox for right now. A lot of the items are stackable. You just kind of need to get a feel for what's going on. And so if you follow the airlock signs all the way down past the food cart vendors and everything like that, you will see this is our starter ship. And so you can see that there's stuff in need of repair. Everything is a little bit kind of a mess. But that's basically what we'll get. And like I said, this is $890 some $1,000. If I go down to my player finances, which is just by clicking the button with the money down here, you can see that I already have $2,300 owed on this shift's pay. It starts you about a quarter of the way into a shift, or a third of the way into a third shift, and we have fourth shift right afterwards. And you can see that trying to see the total balance of it. If I hit prepay mortgage, you can see that there's $862,000 left. And so essentially what you want to do is to be able to come up green each shift, be able to make payments. The fun parts is that there are kiosks here that will basically say, hey, every time you dock up, there's some stuff that you got to pay for, whether that's recharging your ship for 12 cents per kilowatt hour, or filling you up on RCS, or your propulsion with nitrogen. These are all things that you got to worry about. And also, when you first start out, you have only a couple trader options. You have this place called licenses only, which is where you sell stuff when you are a qualified salvager. But you can see here through this context menu, you can trade or you can buy licenses. And guess what? If you don't have a license, they won't let you trade. And so right now you're stuck with dealing with the We Buy Scrap kiosk, or if you see the S out, it's We Buy Crap, adequate. Or the other way to make some early money based on what we're going to be doing is gigs. And so this green floor piece over here, the gig nexus, it has a screen of little odd jobs that you can do as a player, and it just pays stuff out. It refreshes every so often, but there are gigs that let you go around the different zones of the station, running between these nexuses and just kind of scraping by with some early money. So we're going to go ahead, use the nexus. The first one, or anything with a courier job, is one that we can usually get immediately. There are things to watch out for, such as duration, payout, if there's any upfront cost. That's going to be a big thing. And then the big other thing is pick up and drop off location. In order to do it in an adequate amount of time to get the most amount of money, always know which way you're going, so that way you're not needing to stand around and look. There's a couple other things. Like this one wants us to go 4.42 AU, which is a astronomically large distance, to see if someone cheated in a poker game, and it will pay you $3 million. So those are some more endgame things. I'm looking at location. I'm looking at some other things. This one costs us $43,000 to go to a K-leg nav beacon. We can't do that. This one, we need $114 to, again, do something. But again, $3 million payout. So let's go through and find the other courier one. Here is the one that I'm talking about. It costs us $14 to buy the item. We get it from the port and we drop it off in Old Emporium. So luckily for us right now, we are in the port, so we can click this and take the gig. And then there's just some contextual lore stuff. They need a Holden patch, so a hull patch, and we need to drop it off at Old Emporium. So I'm going to do this fairly quickly. You'll see that it shows, some stuff, and just kind of understand what we're doing. So we're going to job taken, go down here, click access locker. I want to be able to shift click this item so it goes straight to my hand to reduce the amount of time. We're then going to go up here to this transit kiosk, hit access transit, and then go to Old Emporium, which is that drop-off location that it wanted us to go to. For your first board around, you're going to get these lore things about, hey, what's in this area? Our big thing right now is we want to go over to the kiosk, take the pack, drop it off in the kiosk's inventory, go back to use, hit my gigs, which has this gig, and we hit turn in. And from there you can see we, quote unquote, bought a item, took it from one place to another, and earned arguably a pretty free $2,200. So there are people that kind of game this a little bit and turn this into their starting run. I'm not going to do that too much. I'm going to do it maybe for like the first $15,000 to $20,000, because part of this early crunchy game is this pressure suit that you're wearing is literally just that. It's a pressure suit. When you put your helmet on, you are a pressured container. And so you're going to start turning the air inside your suit to CO2. And you can see here on your helmet, there's a CO2 meter. And so the longer you wear the suit, the more CO2 builds up, the more your character will get tired or sick, or they'll get hotter. And so what I essentially like to do for playthroughs, just for longevity and comfort purposes, is spend the time, do some gigs to earn enough money to get an actual spacesuit that has oxygen, it has battery for a flashlight, so it kind of alleviates some of those early pains. So I'm going to go through, just do a couple more of these, see if I get lucky, Make sure I take my helmet off so I don't start passing out. But that's kind of the crunchiness that this game brings, and that's something that I enjoy. So here you can see that we have one that takes us from Old Emporium where we are back to the port. Pays a little bit differently, and this is again the one that we looked at first. And then there should have been a replacement courier one. It's not that. Or that one just went away. So that's unfortunately something that we might have to watch out for, is that some of them just do disappear. So this one is going to be the next one where we're going to need to take the gig, go to the port with the item, and do the same thing. So this one we got to move a display unit, come over here, don't hit another button because sometimes you'll dismantle something and then they'll say you're a criminal and report on you, which is never fun because then you get a free $15,000 fine. So just make sure what you're clicking on in these context menus, but when you get more familiar with it, just becomes more, not second nature, because this is, after all, just a game. But the goal here is doing it in a timely manner so that you keep getting the platinum tier payouts. So whenever you clear the first courier one, just hit up, takes you to the bottom of the list, where here you can see the next one. Go to old to commercial, and again, so it's a payout. So since this is port, that's neither old or commercial. So we're going to go back here, access the transit, go back to old, because that's where we need to pick up the item and drop it off at commercial. So again, this is going to be something that we're doing for, a little bit. Try to do it quickly just so it's not too burdensome. So you may ask, what happens if I forget where I'm going? There is a menu in the game that kind of reminds you what you're supposed to be doing. So we're dropping off a scavenger's license to Ezekiel commercial. And so you can kind of tell these are relatively low-timed events. So you come over here, try to get it done as quickly as possible for that platinum payout bonus. So we'll just be doing this a couple more times. Old to commercial for very low money. I used to sit here and pause, micromanage everything because I thought the time was a lot more constrictive, but turns out you can just run this at one-time speed and still do it pretty efficiently. But there might be some that you get a gold payout on instead, and that's really not the end of the world. The point is, what we are doing here is we are making it so that we don't have the chance of going out into the wrecking field, into the salvage area without a license, thereby giving us the very high and likely potential of getting our inventory scanned and saying, you got that from wreckage without getting a license, didn't you? And then again, there's that $15,000 fine if you're not able to, one, talk your way out of it, or, as some of the less scrupulous people might know, incapacitate the reporting officer. So just make sure that if you want to stay on the right side of the law, sometimes you gotta do this really nebulous stuff. So Old Emporium to port. But yeah, some people might find this cheesy and still take that the risk to go out there because it's not 100%. And then the other side of it is it could just be viewed as character building. All those things are fine. Like right there, I forgot where I'm going. We're going to port. So you can just quickly check that out. And then sometimes it does auto pause in these menus, so those are things that you can not necessarily worry about. But you know, pause being the space bar makes things pretty easy, especially if you need to step away for a moment as well. But this is just a general, quick, easy way to make some money around that you don't need to start worrying about, you know, hey, how do I pilot things? What things are valuable? Stuff like that. We'll get into that in a short few minutes, though. But yeah, this did just come out on 1.0. It has been in early access for quite some time, and I think even the initial developers kind of got. I don't think it was got bought out, but they had another investment place come in, and so it's been getting helped across the finish line. I think by Kitfox Games. Don't quote me on that. But I think overall it's been pretty good. It's been pretty positive. I think that the other game that these folks made, Neo Scavengers, other people might be more familiar with. I honestly never heard of it. I just came in with Ostranauts, and it's been pretty killer ever since. So, port to old. And trust me, this is a little bit more exciting than some of the stuff that we're going to be seeing here in a little bit once we actually do start and go into salvaging things. Sometimes that can be pretty dull. Sometimes that can be pretty exciting. And that's really what I'm not looking for. I'm not looking for a work outside of my work to have to focus on and do. So here, we'll take old, go back to port. It's really nice when you're just doing these back and forth trips. Makes it a lot more simple. We might have enough when we're done with this one, we'll see. But I think 20,000 probably gets us to exactly where we need to be for, again, that suit and actually getting a license so that we can have 24 hours. So let's go over. The We Buy Scrap, they really don't sell a whole lot of useful stuff outside of scrap. But here, this supply station is where we want to get some of our things. So they have a lot of the early starting tools, which you're going to want to become familiar with. So they have other stir welders. They have the battery chargers for these things because it's not just having the item, it has to be charged. There's some other things like spare batteries. Those are going to be useful. We might actually pick up one of those now. O2 bottles for some things, some other items. Some are crazy expensive, but there's a reason we were kind of looking at that. So here, if we get both these items, it comes out the $1,600. So I think it's going to be one additional gig that we're going to need to do in order to do this fully. Just trying to see if I have the room for it right now, and I don't think I actually think I do. I just need to do some inventory shuffling. So we're going to come in, we're going to say, did I get rid of it? Did not. Do not send it to a barter zone because I want to take it in my hands. Open up inventory. So that's pretty nice. I think if we take the bag, drag it, because if you have a backpack on, you can't do this because there's an actual EVA pack. So we'll put the bag and the helmet in the toolbox. We'll put the conduit in there too. Actually, we'll put the knife in there because I don't foresee myself using a knife right out the gate. And then we'll go over to the scrap trade station and see if we can just sell the toolbox and all of its contents. You can see here that it's usually just a bunch of damaged things or like small junk that you'll need. So if I go to sell, I see the toolbox, they'll say we want everything but the knife. So I can say, yeah, let's do that. Actually earn $500. And then I can't remember, does the knife actually go with it? And in this case, I think it does because I sold the actual container itself. So that's, a hit. I'm really not going to be too worried about it because we're about to earn another $1,200 just from going to commercial to Old Emporium. So let's go ahead and finish that up. Like I said, this has been, what, 10, 15 minutes to just get us 20 grand in. We no longer need to worry about having that old suit because, again, when we put on this helmet, we have internal breathable air that lasts for a couple of hours. Vice needing to stop using it every 5 to 10 minutes. That's a little bit more digestible. It's easier for me to want to be immersed in the game. You say, that's not immersion? We needed to go to Old Emporium. That's why that little side button over there is helpful. Display. Alright, we still got platinum, even though that was slow. Now, this is the crappy part, because it's like we're literally that close. We are $40 away from buying a 24-hour license. Whether that's the best use of money for that, that's debatable. Let's just do this last one just to be safe. So we're going to port to commercial. That way we have more than enough money because, like I said, we are in debt already. We have a bill already racking up for $2,000. And then the other thing is, the longer our ship stays docked, the more money we owe because technically we are leeching electricity from the station that we're on. So we always got to make sure that you try to keep your visits to the station short up until that point in time that you're more not caring how long you're there, or because you're producing your own power. Plenty of things like that exist. Alright, cool. So we turn that in. If we include the salvage license, we're about $1,900 over. So that's pretty close. So let's go back to the port, where we can then buy a license and start getting our move on with the first thing. Technically, you could wait to buy the license until after, like, you've returned. I don't think I would recommend doing that because you could still get flagged as an illegal salvager when you're out and about. But that's just kind of my thoughts. So let's go ahead and board our ship for the first time. Sometimes these little story missions and things will pop up, but the reason I like the Testudo series ships is because it comes with onboard air pumps that have oxygen, and I think this one is supposed to have nitrogen, or if I'm not seeing another pump, because... No, does this only have O2? Okay, so it needs a nitrogen sensor. The whole context of the crunchiness of this game is to say there is gas pressures, combination of gases, things like that. So you can see here, there's a nitrogen can installed. It's filled with 374 kilograms of it, which is 100%. There's wear and tear, there's temperatures, and so right now it's in Kelvin. I think you can switch it between Celsius and Kelvin. But right now, even though I'm not seeing it, there is gas here. And so if we continue to enter and exit when we're docked with a derelict station or a derelict ship that has no atmosphere, we're going to be losing some gases in this transfer. And so if we only fill that up with oxygen, that's going to be an oxygen-rich environment. We're primarily a nitrogen-based atmosphere, that sort of thing. And so there will need to be a nitrogen can hooked up for what I'm aware of, as well as a sensor. So the way the game knows how and when to pump these things out is that there's alarms that are already configured to basically say, hey, I'm going to alert whenever I need to refill with things. And this control panel is what tells you what it needs to do and I think if you click one of these screws, it can tell you it's linked to something already. So there's always tutorials and stuff that you can come in and look at. There's goals for some of the current stuff, but I'm currently just going to go in and turn those off because I don't really need to do anything right now, or I don't feel like I need to at least. So we're going to come in here. We're going to go to our chair. And we're going to hit use. So here is some. It's a crash course, if you will, pun intended, on how to do this. And so there is a lot more when it comes to it, but it is WASD controls on a map, and so it's pretty straightforward. So again, also because we are a fully functional ship, I can see other things out here, whereas if I was a more dilapidated ship, I would just see ghosts, and I would need to get closer to figure it out. So I'm going to go ahead and fly to one, and we'll see you when I get there. Alright, so two things there from the start. You saw me pointing to some things and looking and adjusting the throttle. I adjust the throttle so that it's not so shaky whenever I hit a button, so that I can do some fine-tuning of my bearing and my relative velocity. But then I also saw that one ship going out to the one that I had planned. And so NPCs are still in the game, and they are actively going to and from these ships as well. So if you go to a ship and you see someone else is going there, one, they're likely to beat you to it because they're a little bit better of a pilot and they can calculate some of these things. So I just kind of abandoned that and am going to a different one instead. But you'll see here, it's going to take me about 4 in-game minutes to get there. If I accelerate the time, that's typically what I do because I don't like going over 300 kilometers a second, or sorry, 300 meters a second, not kilometers, that'd be ridiculous, until we get there. And then you'll see once we start getting to the 5 kilometer distance, I will bring us back down on game speed and then start holding the W key to start slowing us down because we're going to need to start docking, which is a fun, quote-unquote, fun little mini game. So we're going to clear that prox warning because those can get annoying fast. Hail the nearby ship, ask it to dock. There's no one on it, at least that's what we're hoping. And so we're going to say we want to come in and dock to your ship. So here you can see we have our relative velocity that we're going to bring ourselves to close to 0 as possible, and then our bearing is also going to get towards 0. You can spin it up or speed it up here as well. So you can do that. You can hold W to change your speed, and then the whole goal is to get this lined up, just like on Interstellar, on some of those, high intensity moments. You're not perfectly lined up. You'll see the green indicators there tell you to clamp. You click the clamp, and then it does a little bit of a lag to actually simulate and put the two maps of the ships back together. So this is our first derelict. There's a couple things. You can either sit here and try to fix it up, repair it, and make it a ship of your own. There's a whole lot of context there, but what I'm trying to get at in this intro is what to focus on initially. And so, like I said, I try to make this more simple, more streamlined. So what I'll do is, it's a funny little bug you can do here. If you stand in the door and let it close on you, that's going to prevent too much leakage of gas from the other side because there's still a sealed airlock over here. But now that this door's closed, I can walk through it, not lose any air. So that's a little tip to help it be a little bit easier. But then the other thing is a lot of people are going to focus on big ticket items like nuclear reactors, stuff like that. In a lot of these wrecks, the money is just going to come from either the containers and what's in them, or the cans themselves. You can loot big furniture and they're big and blocky, But each of these cans is like 2 to 3,000 credits a piece, and you can sit there and repair them. They also are relatively quick to uninstall. So here you'll see my person is slow at it because I'm a dumb kid. I don't have a lot of good stuff. I also don't have anything more than a screwdriver because I forgot to buy a drill. Um, but we're still uninstalling it pretty quick. And so you'll see you can skill up in these things. And that's going to basically say, hey, I now have a can. It's 55% full, so there's still a lot of nitrogen in it that I could put in my ship to use as fuel to make myself go, or repair it and just sell it back. So the rough value here is just for monetary estimates. Just kind of pay attention and look. You'll see that things sometimes don't have values, but some things do. So that's what I want to say here. So we're just going to go and continue looting through this first ship and talk to you when I'm done with that. So one of the things that you can also do is you can stumble upon other salvage permits already in sale or for sale out in use on derelicts. This one is saying that it was valid until 2078, 1204, but you can see, hey, we're almost a full year later afterwards. But if I found this and it was valid, I could still use it as my own personal license. So it's a good thing to just pick up and read, use it if you need to use it, just leave it on the ground as junk if you don't need it. And then lastly, when I'm on my first couple of derelicts, what I like to check out is like the actual resources lying on the floor. All these come from parts that have broken, whether it's a component, whether it's a piece of wall, something like that. And so what I like to do is take a look, see what's available, and then, if possible, look to start collecting them because these will eventually be used in the future to help repair things that you then find on other derelicts. So what I'm going to do is just start a little collection in my inventory of these miscellaneous parts. So that way I can usually keep a stack of them on my character or on my ship. That way we can just have them as we need them. Just trying to find the right things to do. If you walk up next to something, it's in your inventory, you can shift click it and you'll see that it properly allocates it wherever it is. Usually a little bit easier, and then it's just becoming more familiar with, hey, how much is in a stack? Can my character fit it? And so it's just trying to find out those little tricks. If your character can't fit it, obviously won't be able to pick it up. But like 6 steel, that adds to that 6, and that makes 12. We could take a look at stripping some of this conduit, but in reality, the rest of this stuff is trash. We could be as petty to pick up that work poster as well. I think we already have one, so that's not necessarily an issue. It gives your character the ability to look at something a little bit different over time, and so I think we will leave that there. And then afterwards, you can just dump some of this stuff on the floor, especially if you have a full stack of it, so that way you can at least know. Or I think that's the reason why I grabbed this toolbox, is so I could just put it down and not have to worry about it. So that's pretty much it for the first derelict. And so you can go back. Um, let's go ahead and consolidate these out in this bay area. And I want to show you one last thing before we get back to the hub. On your first couple, you'll probably want to optimize and say hit up a few things first. But in all reality, let's just go back and let's set our destination to Kaleg again. Need to make sure I'm selected to that one. Hail the local ship that we're docked to. Click on dock. Gets us to clamps. That's more so the order of precedence I need to keep remembering. So here it's just bringing us to the right bearing. Adjusting relative velocity. Hitting R when we're on the right bearing, and then getting us up to speed. So see you when we dock back up. Alright, so that's our first little roundabout trip. The only things that we'll need to be worried about now that we've made it here with some stuff is we will pick up our item, carry it out to the airlock, drop it off, hit home, go to zones, and then we will need to highlight some squares. So I will highlight these squares here, hit add new zone, and make it a barter zone. What that's going to let us do is select that zone to sell from when we actually get back on the station. So again, as long as you have a license in your inventory, you can go up and trade to this kiosk. I can click from zone 1. So here you can see that one trashed canister nets us 3.4 grand. So that's already our shift payment. So the point in this is don't overlook the small things. Don't necessarily waste your time on fixing up the big components that you may be thinking are the chase value items. You can come in here and you can look at the other wanted items, and this lists every other item in the game. And what they'll want it, or what they'll want to buy it for. So like people go for the air pumps. Those are just $1,000. It's far quicker to just come out and get a canister. Or if you find a ship full of canisters, loot them. They're worth it. The only other big things to look out for are, like I said, nuclear reactors. Some of these cards for the phones are useful. And that's really the big reason why we took hacking, so that you could decrypt or unlock a phone to then get access to these cartridges, because that's more free money. You can get like $7,000 just for selling one phone. EVA suits, another good thing. I think the only other good thing worth calling out is just a very rare item, and I don't think I see it here yet, but it's purple coveralls, because those sell for like $100,000. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like a dev item to do some testing and stuff, but you can literally go through here, just start sorted around. I just saw it, purple coveralls. Sorry, 300,000. And you can just find what is it that you want to sell. You know, I always thought about stocking up on cigarettes, that sort of stuff. Really, this was it. Hope you enjoy it. All right, talk to you later.